1, 0.
Thanks for joining another episode of Playing the Artist, weekly web show where me and my friend Alex, two nerds that grew up in a country bumpkin Canadian town, decided to move to the big city and try to make it big as a fancy artist, be a performer, dance on the stage in the bright lights, I say.
So far, we made it medium small.
Medium small.
We're still working on the big part, making
time.
it big.
Yeah, a show where just two people that are trying to be self-employed artists.
Yeah, that's pretty much it in a nutshell. And I'm Alex.
Full-time. Oh yeah, that's right. I'm Antoine, and this is Alex. I'm full-time working for myself, and Alex still has one foot in the door, per se.
Yeah, that's right. I'm straddling self-reliance here.
Yeah.
But I sometimes wonder if Patreon is more. It's more work to do on the side than a Kickstarter because of the nature of having customers all the time. You know, like there's always customer service to be done.
All that catches up with you.
How often do you have? I mean, because you've launched one, so
yeah,
it's like you've got a lot of sales out there somewhere. Do they still reach out to you, people who are
Yeah, people still reach out, but by time when the Kickstarter's like a couple months done, it starts slowing down significantly, right? I got some shit to throw down. Actually, I got a couple things. I got to make myself an iced coffee last night. Kept it over.
Well, this is a cold brew?
Yeah, dude.
Nice.
But anyways, so I made a mailing list. I did the mailing list. I have an official mailing list. I have I think over 70 people on the mailing list, which is awesome.
That's amazing.
Yeah, first day. A little bit of a disaster, but it's baby steps. So I wanted to have an automatic email set up where when you sign up, you'll get a message and you'll get a link to, or get an email with just these files that I'm going to give you for joining the mailing list. However, MailChimp doesn't have a thing where I can fit STL files in a mailing list format, in their format, and then they can get a direct message of these STL files. So it's I know what I'll do. I'll put it on my mini factory and I'll send a private link automatically for them to download the models, right? However, though, I was getting messages from people saying the link's broken, but it wasn't that many. So I was maybe it's not working for some people, maybe, or something, from certain areas or something like that. And then that's why I was bothering you to see if it would work.
Oh, sorry.
That's fine. But then, I was I'm just going to do the test myself. So I made a second My Mini Factory account and signed up for my own mailing list with a different email. Yeah. And sure enough, I got an error. I couldn't access the models. And I was like, fuck. So at the time I had 68 people on the mailing list. So I was like, fuck, I gotta, I'd be pissed if I did that thing and I opened the thing and it was an error. And I was like, oh, fuck, I don't want to waste my time messaging this bum that gave me this shitty link.
That's right. Yeah.
So I went ahead and I emailed all those people individually with the models. And then I configured the mailing list thing. So now it says, once you sign up for the mailing list, and you'll get a secondary email from me, and that email will say oh, thank you, and here's a little story about me and what I'm trying to do, and if you want these models, just send me an email at Forbidden Prints and say mailing list, and then I have in a notepad a little thank you and I put their name in it, and I attach the digital files, and I send them the models, and so it's kind of like it's shitty, but it's like it's a I don't mind doing it because these people they're signing up for the mailing list, and then they're going out of their way to message me personally to get these models.
Yeah.
So
what's I wonder, it's got to work though. I know a lot of people use My Mini Factory for their there's some, like, if you want to reward somebody on Patreon who's like been there for 6 months, there isn't really a system to do that on Patreon, so people use My Mini Factory to like fulfill those kind of models. And there's got to be a way to do what you're trying to do.
Well, I think it has to do with, I don't know, maybe there's something where I would have to figure it out, but I couldn't figure it out because maybe I would have to make the model public and then maybe give a code so it becomes free. I was thinking about that, but I couldn't find any options for a code. So
My Mini Factory?
I know there is, but I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm just gonna do it like this right now. And however, in the options of MailChimp, I noticed that they're it's not out yet, but they're gathering information, I guess, and they're going to release an updated version. I don't know when, but in the future they're going to make a cloud-based thing so you can link up your Dropbox or your what's it called again? Your Google Documents or whatever.
Yeah, Google Drive.
Different clouds and stuff like that. So that's great because that means I can link up.
It's still not as good as if the best place is My Mini Factory though, because that gets people used to like coming to your store and stuff. Which
I totally agree. I have links in my store and in my social medias in the mailing list emails. So there's the landing page. So the landing page is where you go, where you type in your email, and then that will get you that will send you an email, and in there's like all the information for all that jazz. But like it's I'll take it because like once I like decide to do a sale or something like that, I could just send them, hey, go to My Mini Factory and get this sale, 30% off of everything or whatever, you know what I mean? So it is what it is. I'll figure out a more viable version in the future, but right now I'm not generating that much traffic. Like I'm not getting like hundreds of emails every day, people signing up, you know what I mean? Like this morning I did 10 emails of like just little message saying like, thank you, and here's your models, you know what I mean?
Cool.
So that's manageable, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But once it gets out of hand, I got to figure something out.
Yeah.
So
definitely.
That's a big success. And then
70 is really good out of the gate, I think. That's
awesome. For sure. I'm really happy. And so what I did was I went to my Kickstarter page, my old one, and I can still update on that Kickstarter page, right? So I put an update post saying, hey, I'll give you these free models if you join my mailing list. And so that was like a free little bump there. So, and then I also attached some like renders and a little header saying, hey, join up to my mailing list and you can get these models. And so I had like the sample for my 30 days of tiles and stuff like that. And so if you're like going through that and then you see this one render of these two models that are not a part of the bundle and it says join the mailing list, click the link in the description, and then that's another way to do it as well. And I don't know when, but soon I'm working on a model to help promote the mailing list that I'm going to put on Thingiverse, and I'm excited to see what happens there, because that's going to reach out a substantial amount of people.
Yeah, that's cool. It's fun. So yeah.
And I have a problem. A bigger problem.
Uh-oh.
I have to go back and fix a bunch of shit in some models.
Uh-oh. I hate it when that happens, dude.
Yeah, so I printed out this big fucker right here. It's 15 hours, this fucking thing. And it's to connect this piece right here, and the other piece is the archway. If you look closely, there's a big fucking seam there. You see that?
Where they connect.
Yeah, where they connect. There's a big fucking
seam. I see a seam there. Yeah.
And I thought in my big dumb lizard brain, I was just like, oh, that's not going to be a big deal. It won't look weird or anything like that. And when I stuck it together, I was like looking at it, I was like, at most, I'm just like, it's okay, I guess. And I was just like, this is fucking stupid. There's no way in hell I'm going to give this product to anybody and they're going to be excited about it. Because if I'm not excited about it, then at most, the most excited someone will get is, it's okay, I guess, which is dog shit. I can't allow it.
Yeah, I don't know. I think you'd be surprised. I mean, some people really get attached to this stuff.
Yeah,
but,
I know.
If you can do a better job, then
the thing is, I just need to figure out a way to hide the seam or like make the seam a part of the piece. You know what I mean?
See what you're saying. Yeah, okay. So it's not like a technical, you need to slice it better somehow. It's just like you want to be able to hide it better,
exactly. Which I already know what I'm going to do to fix it. I already have an idea of how to hide it. But it's just like, fuck, I have to do that for the big platform thing. I got to do it for my like boss platform thing I was working on. And I have to do it for...
now I see. Thing. That's why that's a big change, because that's not just like fixing a model. That's like, okay, this is a new philosophy for me to follow as I model these things, is that everything needs to look good standalone, and just because I didn't plug that thing in, it still has to be a cool pillar. So that way, it gives you more options. Because if you never, it's like maybe you want a corridor that looks slightly different, so you don't plug it in, or it doesn't make sense to have it. It still looks cool, even without it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if it looks like shit without it, then you could say, well, why didn't I just make it one piece, right?
Yeah. Well, the reason why I can't make it one piece is because the pieces are so fucking big. Right. And I'm trying to, like I said, I like designing. Fuck my head. Look at that shine on my head there. Look at that.
Yeah. You look like a shader ball out of
like a Unreal Engine test.
Yeah.
Fucking beard is coming in.
Yeah, I'm seeing that too. It's really orange now.
Yeah, I know, right? But anyways, yeah, so
cool, man. Well, I think that's cool. Like I hadn't really thought about that. I mean, in such like an explicit, like, I just think it's a good rule to have, as you're making modular stuff.
There's this, this stuff's not modular. Like a lot of the stuff's not really modular. It's more just really big, giant set pieces. But however, I guess in a way it is modular, because if I hide up the seam, that means it'll be easier for me to plug it into anything else, right? So you're right, it will make it modular, right? Because like that piece that I just showed you, that can only be connected to that piece because like those models line up with that, but there's a big seam. But if I hide the seam some way, then I can plug in different things because the seam would always be hidden, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you can design an overlap or something.
Yeah, like something like just cover just a slight enough with a little bit of a design. Because like, if you look at the design, there's like all these flares and stuff like that. That like these little
you've got a lot of.
Yeah. And I can easily have something kind of flare out and just kind of go right in front of this seam. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah, like I'm really like I was thinking like the size was way too big, but then I actually bought some miniatures. I found a miniature that looks exactly like Gavin. Look at that. It's a fucking skinny ghoul pasty. Gavin's a mutual friend that's very skinny and lanky, and he kind of looks like a ghoul. Handsome ghoul. He's a handsome ghoul. But yeah, even though this thing's fucking huge, it still looks cool beside little tiny miniatures. So
yeah,
I was afraid. I was afraid that it was going to be too much, but I'm happy with the size, but not happy with the seam. Anyways,
Yeah.
So
if it fits in your Ender 3, I think then that's
Yeah.
the scale is fine. Yeah.
So, but the reason why I want to bring this up, not just something to talk about, but there's this quote by Chinese philosopher dude. I forget who, but he said, if you keep the same amount of detail, or sorry, what is it? If you keep the same amount of, if you pay attention to the beginning to the end, you won't fail. And so it's like, if I pay attention to all the details, to the beginning to the end, everything will come together. Like nothing will fall short, right? But sometimes hindsight's 20/20, and you kind of miss something. You're like, fuck. Well, I'll do better next time. But
yeah,
if you do pay attention, and there is that gut feeling you get where you're like second guessing this model, you're like, this doesn't, or like this thing you're working on, you're just like, this doesn't really jive. Like I'm not really like, if I'm not like 80 or 90% sure, like this is good, this is okay, it's not good. You know what I mean? So
yeah. Well, you haven't like put it into anyone's hands yet, so it's, while it may suck to go back and touch things you've marked off as complete in your checklist, it's like still a great time to be iterating on this stuff, because it's like once you put it in people's hands, it's really hard to like, oh no, sorry, just like switch them out. It's like that's not going to happen. People aren't going to take their time.
And that's even more stress too, because then there's all these people, all these backers and these customers and these people that believe in you and trying to support you, and they're like, now there's like this pressure of like, now you have to deliver something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
It's pretty rough, and that's happened to me before, where I was on my mini factory. Oh, excuse me, and I uploaded 2 models, the same, for the mining drill. And so there was missing a piece. And I was like, oh, fuck, all these people are missing a goddamn piece. So I had to like quickly fix that and stuff. And doing it was like such nerve wracking. And I was getting like tunnel vision, because like, I gotta fix this right now, because these people expected something, and it'd be really shitty to buy something, be like, what the fuck,
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's, you have the time, you might as well make use of it. Like for me, it's like every month is like this hard stop of like, gate models have got to go out the door, and if there's anything that you wish you would have changed about it, too bad. Luckily my models are okay, I think, but some of my like the other stuff, like the 5e like character sheets, that's the ones most often where I'm like, oh, I wish I would have wrote it this way, or oh shoot, I found a spelling mistake or something from like 2 months ago that I just missed somehow. And that's really like, those are really, I mean, luckily it's just like a small part of the content, but that's been a kind of a pain in my butt, and something I've had to go back and like I started making the sheets like sort of like this brown tan kind of color. But because I thought it looked cool, in a book. If it made a book someday, it would look really cool. But the thing is, it's a lot of ink to print. So then I'm like, oh man, I really should have done this on a white background and figured out how to make that work. So then I went back, and then I had to go and also like repropagate that through to all the other ones I'd made. And little decisions like that are not so bad now, even though I've only like,
who knows, man? Maybe one of these days, you could make an actual fully colored, hard binded book. You know what I mean?
I'd like to, man. I think it's one thing that I can do after a certain amount of releases. I'll be able to do, like, I'll have enough pages to fill a book, and it's something that other Kickstarters and Patreons mostly for character minis won't be able to do. So I think I ought to do it, and It would be cool. And you know, like, I don't know if I was talking to you about this, if it was Sam, but like for, you know, I feel like like having a book on the shelf is kind of like for RPGs, for tabletop RPGs, it's kind of like the coolest thing to own. It's like kind of the be all end all. It's like that's what D&D really sells is books. That's what Pathfinder sells and is books. Maybe Warhammer is a slightly different. Like they're more focused on like the actual minis and.
Oh no, they have books too.
Yeah, I think they. Yeah, I guess they do.
They got rule books, and the books are full of awesome, cool illustrations and a bunch of lore and stuff like that. And
yeah. So I think it's a good goal to have if you're in the space, which we are. I think it's like a nice goal for me to have, and I think it's not realistic.
Who knows? You know, like I said before, like I would like to take my hands. I'd like to take a shot at, you know, producing a card game, but you know, who knows? Maybe in the process of trying to figure out a card game, maybe I might get an idea for a board game. You know what I mean, or some sort of tabletop game. Or
yeah, dude, I saw.
Who knows? There's a lot of cool stuff out there. You know what I mean?
Do you want to?
Sorry, go ahead.
Do you want to? Can I share my screen of a Kickstarter I liked today?
Yeah, go.
It's kind of related to this topic.
You don't have to ask me.
Oh, okay. Well,
I'm just kind of obsessed with this shiny baldness. Ooh, what is it?
So this is, I don't really know. I'll be honest with you. I'm only looking at the images and I'm seeing like
it's hitting all the things that you really love. The books, the cards.
Exactly. Yeah. I would just replace maybe like some of this stuff with like, you know, printed STLs as well, right? And I think their presentation is really great. You know?
Hey man, you know it'd be really cool if you like, you know, who knows, you know, down the line, like maybe you could even like have like an actual like set of like boss characters for this one, you know, adventure, not adventure, but like some sort of RPG book, and like, you know, maybe like one of the stretch goals or like maybe one of the like tiers is like, oh, you get these 5 miniatures of you know. I really think like the realm of possibilities of making physical releases, like the more I keep, you know, like doing this and like seeing like people interact, like especially the mailing list, like that's like really giving me a lot of like enthusiasm to be like, oh shit, people are joining the mailing list and they're sending messages being like, oh, we really like your stuff and keep up the great work and can't wait for your next Kickstarter. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, it's like, oh, people like my work. It's like, well, maybe people really like physical releases. You know what I mean? So who knows?
Yeah. Look at how clear everything is, man. It's like,
it's beautiful. Yeah.
That's kind of what you did with your, like having just a little graphic to explain, like,
you
know, for yours, it was whether it needed supports or not. Well, this one is telling you whether you're getting digital goods or physical goods, and it's really clear because sometimes it can be confusing, right? Like, you know, because it's all looks, you know, pretty physical to me. But and I like that they have like every $5, there's like kind of a new like option, you know, so you can really find where you fit and then upgrade if you want to.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to use this as like a rubric. I think I really love this. I don't know who. I've never seen I think it's the first like Kickstarter that I've seen by this company.
But also, you got to remember, man, like this, like projects like this, like the cards. He has dice. He has a physical book, and he has like what's that mini book? There's like a little mini book. You know what I mean? There's like 2 books.
This one, the Pocket Guide. I'm not entirely sure what the Pocket Guide is.
I just think it's like a mini version to take on the road with you.
Yeah.
That's what I think it is. You gotta remember, like stuff like that takes so much work, and hands down, he probably this is a very joint effort thing. It took many different hands and many different payrolls to get to this point.
For sure. For sure. Yeah.
And, because you know, what like the podcast that we used to watch every day until until they decided to quit one fantastic week. Who knows? Maybe they might come back. But anyways, they talked about like typography and not typography, but like they were talking about books and like, you know, hiring people that are professional, like layout people.
Yeah, graphic design, layout design. It's all, those are all like their own disciplines that are
for sure
not really respected probably by many, I guess, do-it-yourselfers like myself. But, and I don't think I would try to do that many because there's like, there's like a card, a small book, a big book, the dice. That's like 4 separate like physical items you've got to micromanage to figure out. Yeah,
totally. Like printing the cards, like there's one person that does cards, you know what I mean? The same person that does cards might not do the books. And the people that do the dice definitely don't do the cards and the books. So, you know, you have to tango with three different companies, you know what I mean? So hey man, one step at a fucking time, right? So like, you know, like I said, like for my physical, like when I want to do a physical release, it's either going to be a card game or maybe a really small Kickstarter of physical miniatures. Who knows? But that even seems pretty crazy because like shipment for that. Well, it depends. Like if I could fit like the miniature in like something in the size of a card deck, you know what I mean? Or maybe a little bigger than that. I suppose so.
Oh, dude, you know what I want to do? I think you would love to do if you start doing characters, or maybe you could figure it out with Worlds. Is like, you know, those blind boxes, those like mystery blind box collectible things. Have you collected those?
Yeah,
it's so addictive.
It's a crapshoot.
It is, but like, what's cool about it for, you know, people like us is that you only have to make one packaging for all your stuff. And if you have miniatures like skeletons and, you know, things that scale like armies, you can make those the rare, or sorry, they're not the common ones. So that way it's like, oh, I got another skeleton. It's not the end of the world because an army of skeletons is pretty cool to have anyway. And with miniatures, I think
I don't think that works with the gaming community. I don't think that works in this. Like
it's a big thing in Japan, but yeah, it's like this is Western.
That's more collectible. You know what I mean? It's not like when it comes to like wargaming or tabletop RPGs and stuff like that, like, you know, Pathfinder and D&D, or Cyberpunk, like Red. You have like people want to draw a certain like feeling or a certain like thing they're going for, right? So they're going to invest their time and money in things that they're like kind of looking for. They're like, so like I remember seeing this one dude, he like made these like custom orc heads, like a resin casted orc heads with all fez hats. You know the fez hats, the red hat with the little tassel. So it's all these different orc heads that are kind of look like Warhammer orcs, but they all have fez hats. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if someone made like a blind box where it's like, oh, get a random orc head with orc heads with like different hats. Well, it's kind of like, well, I don't want to take that. I don't want to spend my money on that because I might not get something that I want to use in my army that I really want to like try out. There's more of a creative element, you know what I mean, when it comes to tabletop games. And that's why I think the blind box wouldn't fit. It fits in collectors, people that are like, you know, comic book nerds or.
Well, that's what I was about to say is like a lot of people, I forget where I saw this poll. I read it on like Reddit or something of asking, you know, what do you use your minis for? Are you playing with them or are you just like painting them? And like 50% of people were like, I don't play D&D. I just collect these things. I just like miniatures and I like getting new ones. And yeah, because think about the vault. Some people have like 10 Patreons on their list of subscribe, whatever. And, you know, so each one is giving you like 3 to 10 minis a month. Like you're getting hundreds of minis every month.
And people are just printing and painting them, eh?
Yeah, a lot of people are just painters who like just enjoy. I mean, I'm sure that I'm not saying that they never play with them, but that's like the meat and potatoes. And hey, Fabrice, how's it going? Yeah, I don't know. It's definitely new, and anytime it's you introduce something new, it's like a risk. But I think I don't know. Yeah, actually, there's a Patreon. I think it's called Loot Box, monthly Loot Box. They do blind box of figures, but it's like they're like subscribed to many other. They have like a lot of contributors. You might get you might get an artisan guild, you might get a cast and play, you might get a whatever arch villain games. But I guess there is a small precedent set for it. But it is kind of the thing that you see. It's like an impulse buy. It's like I don't know if people buy that online. Maybe they do.
Who knows? Hey man, who knows? Like maybe your IP becomes something much bigger than you, and you get to the point where you can do something like that. You know what I mean? Like I have multiple ideas for District 0012, and I was like thinking like I was thinking that my next Kickstarter here, Resistance of Darkness. I was like thinking like, oh, this will probably just be a one-off, and I was like, no, I think I could probably squeeze out a couple more ideas out of it, like for terrain Kickstarters. You know what I mean? Like I was like thinking maybe I could make a dungeon tile version of Resistance of Darkness, where it's like all these dungeon tiles for open lock, just themed, just themed the same way.
Yeah.
So
that would be cool. If you can
know.
release your Kickstarter this like late this year or early next year, and then
it's gonna be next year.
Because then you can do on your 30 days of tiles, those can all be, I guess everything's going to be compatible anyways, but maybe more than that. Maybe there's like a thematic something that can really add some value. Yeah.
Who knows? Who knows? But I'm hopeful. A little stressed out because I have to fucking redo all those models, but it's a good kind of stress because it just means my work's going to be that much cooler. So I'm yeah,
that's great. That's good. Yeah, I've been trying to. I think I'm gonna update my tiers next month because so right now everything is like a single mini, and I'm like it's really focused around like you get one hero, but I think I want to push myself to release like a small collection, I guess, instead of, I still want to focus it around one hero for sure. Or like, when it makes sense, like a squad, which is like one guy, but we're getting variation out of like different poses or weapons. But like one, I guess, character kind of thing. One playable kind of entity. But I think like the last 3 releases, I've released more than one figure. Like I did a squad, and then I did, the shapeshifter, which has 2 models. And then this month I did this wizard guy who's got these ability models. So I'm like starting to find creative ways to make use of like some of the things I'm modeling, but also make them like fun, like kind of printable toy things that are like have some value on their own. So I want to update my tiers to kind of reflect that, because I guess, I don't know, it's just, if I keep doing this, it's just going to look a bit different. It's just I'm just delivering different stuff slightly than what is in there. And yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of learning as I'm going here too. And then I also want to add another tier for people who want to create their own items, which has been kind of a cool, I guess, like some people have been asking to craft their own items with the card deck. And I was like kind of slow to kind of like get after that, because there's the fear that like I don't know, people are just gonna get your card editor and then they don't need you anymore, kind of thing. But I think that my patrons are pretty cool, and I don't think that they'll just bail after 1 month. And I think that if I keep adding to the card editor, like adding more backgrounds and more items every month, I think that they'll find that.
Wait a second. So you want to make more cards?
No, I want to add a tier that has the Photoshop file with the card template in it, so that DMs can craft their own items. Craft their own items.
Sounds like you said crap.
No. Why would they craft?
No. So that's a separate tier.
Yeah, that's like the next. That's like a tier up from where you're at now.
Okay. Yeah, that's cool. I like that. So I think, hey, I got homework for you.
Uh-oh.
I think you should start a mailing list.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're probably right. You're probably right.
Yes, I am right. And I know I'm sounding like a blowhard a bit, even though it's only my second day having a mailing list. But the way I see it, it's a way to put out a bat signal. It's another way to put out a bat signal. You know what I mean? Like imagine. So like when I started my first Kickstarter, right? I had the follow page for the Kickstarter page.
Mm-hmm.
So imagine, and it was like 202 people following it. Not a large amount, but like an honest amount, I would say. And so imagine having that, essentially bat signal anytime you release something to 200 people every time. You know what I mean? It's like, that's pretty cool. You know what I mean? And it's like always there at the ready when you need it.
Yeah.
So I think it's invaluable. You know what I mean? Like, I think it probably makes or breaks people. I really do.
I think it's the problem I have sometimes is I run out of places to share stuff on the daily. Like, on Reddit and a lot of Facebook groups, it's like whoa, you can only post, Patreon related stuff once a week, right? And it's like sometimes, so I mean, Instagram is good. You can post whatever you want every day. Nobody cares. Your own Facebook group is like that too. Mm-hmm. Just as much as you want to post, you totally are free to do that. And then that's why, and then Twitter, that's why I wanted to start Twitter up again, is because it's just another place I can post without any gate of like saying you can only do it so often. But a mailing list is another thing like that, where anyone who's subscribed, can get updates. And I don't know it's like if I would send something daily. I have subscribed to a few things that do that, and it's a bit.
Yeah, I'm only gonna
too much
announce things if it's I think the people that join the mailing list would be interested in seeing like hey, the release date for the Kickstarter is this, or like, hey, I'm working on this, or hey, I have a sale, or anything. You know what I mean? Well, not anything, but just things that you would think would be worthwhile. Not just like, oh, hey guys, today I moved a couple polys around, and here's my gray block of this new model. You know what I mean? I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
I want it to be a little bit more special, and a little bit more like, oh, there's this announcement of this upcoming thing to give anticipation.
Yeah. I mean, even what you're talking about with the seams and improving those.
I was thinking about that yesterday. I was like, once I print this out, I want to make a funny, cool little post where it's like sad face, seam, happy face, no seam kind of thing, and just be like, to show people like, hey, I'm really trying to make these things the best I'm trying to make them for you people, for you lovely people. You reading something down there? It's Fabrice.
Yeah, Fabrice is saying hi. He says now 1 week or 1 month, or more people will just unsub. I think what he's saying is like keep it once a week or once a month.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
for sure. I totally agree with that. I think
me too.
I think the mailing list should be something a little bit more special than just like throwing out, pictures of what did you eat today. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because that's what Instagram and that's what Twitter, those type of things, like that's what that is. It's just kind of like mindless. It's like Doritos. And I think a mailing list is a little bit more of like, hey, that's a fucking chocolate croissant. I'll have one of those. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But you can't eat 12. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Have once a month or once a week kind of thing.
Yeah, definitely. For sure. And not everybody eats Doritos. Like, I think there's a lot of people who are going to subscribe to your stuff who don't.
There's people out there that don't have Instagram or don't have Facebook or don't have Twitter or don't use Reddit either. You know what I mean? And they're like, no, I don't want to do that. And they're like, oh, I'll join the mailing list though.
Yeah.
What's crazy? I forget the amount of people that use social media, but it's like an insignificant amount. It's actually not that many people. You think it'd be like, everybody, but it really isn't. It turns out it's not.
It's true. Like when I see somebody new, like a new Patreon or a new creator or something show up in my feed, I'm like, whoa, I wasn't expecting that. Where did this person come from? Because it's like I've already gotten used to like everybody who I'm seeing on a daily basis on like Facebook and Instagram, and it's didn't take long, right? It's like, I mean, there's probably a lot that I haven't seen, but I do feel like surprised when I see somebody new. Like, like how did I not run into you already?
There's actually this dude. He started following me on the Instagrams, and he has a Patreon. He makes these amazing. Fuck, I gotta see if I can find. I'll give him a shout out. So give him a shout out so Fabrice can know who I'm talking about and no one else. But anyways, he started following me and his stuff was really great, and I started following him back, and he's from Vancouver as well.
Was he a painter?
No, he's a sculptor. He has a Patreon where he
Oh, really?
Cool fucking minis. And
that's cool. You got to send it to me. There.
Send it to you? Oh fuck! I'll send it to you so we could take a look. Fuck. Why
don't we just call him out on this show? I mean,
maybe he might be a potential guest one of these days.
Yeah, right.
Hey, who fucking knows, dude?
We should have a guest one of these days.
Who would be our guest?
I don't know.
Kevin Bunt?
No, I don't know. No.
Oh.
Somebody who's in the into 3D printing or miniatures or something related like that.
Yeah. I put it in the private chat for you there.
Cool. Yeah,
Share that.
Oh. Why don't you put it in the regular chat?
I can't.
Really? I retain the control, hey?
You are the master blaster.
Drunk with power.
Anyways, show it on the stream.
Yeah. Unos momentos, por favor. This is his IG.
Yeah.
Battle Yak.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a new one to me.
I just started because his Patreon only has 59 patrons, and his work is super good. I really like it.
Well, he's kind of got, he's like doing his own take on Warhammer, hey?
It's like this weird blend of like a Doom guy and Warhammer.
Yeah.
And then it's his like, I really like those like these like elven bug creature people, or like they have their armor is like bugs. It's like bug armor. It reminds me of Monster Hunter. Man, when we used to go to college, did you used to go to the library? The library?
In college?
Yeah,
I didn't know we had a library in college.
I guess we did. I saw you in there.
I think I had to go there to like sign out tablets and stuff. But
no, what? The tablets were never in the library. library.
In the second one, they were like right. There was like the IT booth, and then the library was right next to it.
Yeah.
But no, I didn't go to the library.
Anyways,
Books,
but they had. Fuck you. Books are awesome. But there was an amazing art book from Monster Hunter 2. Yeah, Monster Hunter 2, amazing art book. And they had all these concept art of all these like amazing armor and they were so creative because the whole premise of Monster Hunter is just you kill monsters and you wear their skin as armor, or your weapons are made out of their body parts or whatever. And they had all these like just these different types of like dragons and like fish and fucking beetles and scarabs and like all these different like combinations. They all look fucking amazing, and having a book like that would be actually pretty fucking awesome for character artists, because they could just be like, oh, I want to make something different and cool like on a mini. And you just like open that up, and you're like, oh, fucking make a clan of dudes wearing armor like that, and you just pick it out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. What game was that for?
Monster Hunter 2.
Monster Hunter, yeah.
Wait, or is 3 the newest one? No, 4.
Dude, they're on. It's like Monster Hunter World, I believe, is the latest one, which is like came after 4.
All right.
So, yeah,
one of those Monster Hunters. They have a really cool art book. I would even consider fucking buying that, actually.
Yeah, I'm really trying to limit the amount of books I actually purchase.
It's so expensive, and once you have it, it becomes. Once you have a few, it's like this like big thing of weight that's like waiting to be put into a box and lugged around when you have to.
Well, I know I said books are stupid a second ago, and it's not because I love books. I like owning them and having them, but I don't like moving them, and I guess I just had to give away so many books last time I moved because I couldn't sell them in time. And man, it's just like, have you ever had to move Jared? Like he's got like 1,000 comic books, and they're in boxes that each weigh like 80 pounds, and they take up so much space that I just don't have. And so someday when I'm in my, forever home and I'm settling down, then I'm going to collect the fuck out of books. But for now, I'm really trying to do like PSDs and like digital kind of stuff. It's also easier to reference too, if just that's what your second monitor is for, right? You're not like, oh, it's all dark and I can't like see the pages. But I totally hear you. I didn't get rid of all my books. I still have some like
favorites,
some of my faves.
Yeah, I remember there was one time you were like just looking at what is it called again? You were looking at thrift bookstores.
Oh yeah,
you were trying to look for old D&D monster manuals and stuff like that.
Yeah, like a lot of people get rid of them because it's like, oh, it's not second edition anymore, it's not third edition anymore. But there's still even though the game mechanic isn't super relevant, there's still a lot of good stuff to absorb out of there. And just like, the illustrations, the further you go back, there's a bit more charm in the illustrations as well.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Especially like 80s and earlier is like, it was like something about the fantasy art at that time.
Well, they have those iconic illustrations, like the demon with the fire, you know what I mean, and the two hands, and then he has like the jewel eyes, you know what I mean, and then there's the people climbing on top and they're trying to get the fucking jewels out of the eye sockets. Like iconic stuff like that, or what is it? Hero Quest, Hero Quest, like with that one barbarian where he has that ridiculous pose with the sword and stuff like that. That era.
Oh man. Because and like immediately after that is the 90s where digital art first became a thing, and Photoshop was like so new, and you see a digital image, and I think there was a bit of wow factor there because but like the line work and shading and color
it didn't age as well.
No. There's some cool stuff that's like has this like there's a bit of nostalgia and sort of a dankness to that old art that could probably still be captured, because like it's really there's sort of like this kind of hopeless kind of, because they couldn't, their scenes were really empty looking. It would be just like in like this like really flat horizon that goes off to like forever, and there might be one tree in there, and it like at the time it looked really crazy and weird. Like you never really see that kind of stuff before. But you're right. It just didn't age as well. It's like when Super Nintendo went to N64, and the Super Nintendo was like, oh, this is like kind of like the pinnacle of pixel graphics at the time. And then you go to like the most rudimentary 3D graphics ever, and you're wowed by the 3D-ness of it. But looking back, it's like there are so few polygons that it's like kind of jars your eyes to look at now.
Mario's nose was like,
it's like a stop sign. Yeah.
But
it's
this
kind of like that.
People that there's still a nostalgia group for that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Because still people that produce, make new games, but with the aesthetic of essentially like a Turok 2 for Nintendo 64. You know what I mean? Like very, very simple. Yeah. Polygons. You know what I mean? Like maybe the textures might be a little bit more vibrant, like the textures. You know what I mean? But still have that same feeling and that same kind of gameplay, like the running around and like your guns like bouncing. Oh
yeah. And you can talk shit about that kind of art and stuff, and but then as soon as it's released and it's out there and it becomes a thing, and then time starts to pass and nostalgia starts to build, it's like, think about all the like really trendy, artsy, like indie games now that are like pixel games with like pastel colors, and it's like they took that. They're really inspired by it, and then they went in this other direction and made something beautiful out of it. And it's like, just because it's like released at the moment, and there's like, there's a lot of shit you could talk about it. As soon as it started, I mean, it's out there, you made it. Now it's a thing that's going to be studied, whether it's good or not. And, we go back and we laugh at bad movies and stuff, but, as bad as they are.
In the bad movies, there's still like little... Even like the bad movies that still kick around, and they're still like, like cult classics and stuff like that. Like Reanimator. When we watched Reanimator at your place for Halloween, remember that?
Yeah.
I thought it was fantastic because there was just these wacky, weird scenes that were so ridiculous. There's a scene in that movie that watching that movie is just worthwhile watching it, where he reanimates the cat. There's a dead cat, and he like puts it with a needle, and it becomes back alive or whatever. And there's a scene with the two characters in the basement, essentially destroying the basement, pretending there's a cat in the dark, but the room is lit so well where you could see like in the dark cracks, and there's like, you don't see a cat, but they're just like hitting stuff with a broom, and like there's just like sound effects of a cat moving around, and it's just a weird scene, and it's so funny. But there's even like really interesting, cool shots in that film where like there's like this cool green like underglow and him with like the needle looking down and stuff. Like there's really like, there's some artistry to it.
Mm-hmm.
And there's those stuff, there's a reason why they trek the journey of time. You know what I mean? They still make it into people's homes on their DVD players and whatnot. And so, one of these days, hopefully like that will happen when we make stuff, you know what I mean? Hopefully we'll make something where it's like, we made it. Like, who knows? Like maybe in like 20 years, District 0012 might be a fucking comic book or a fucking game, like a video game or something. Yeah. And people will look back on it and be like, this is really cool. Let's make a different let's reboot it or something, or buy the IP and turn it into a board game or whatever. You know what I mean?
Dude, even right now, like, who knows? Something could happen to like Kickstarter, where like some new law is passed and now you can't do Kickstarters anymore. And then there'll be this golden era. Like, remember when all that cool like fantasy RPG shit came out on Kickstarter, and then people will start to like fondly remember them, and it'll be like, oh, here's District 0012. Let's do a couch review of this one. And it's like, you never know. Like already, it could be there, right? It just takes.
That's really weird. It's weird. Well, 3D printing. It's gonna sound silly, but I think 3D printing is gonna really change the world. I don't know how. I have some ideas, but I really think 3D printing is going to really shape the world in a different way. And I think people are going to look back and be like, man, 3D printers, the rudimental 3D printers, like people used to just, print ridiculous, like I printed a vase or a pencil holder or a terrain for my tabletop game. People be like, oh, this is so weird. Look at all this weird stuff they used to print. And then they'll be printing like medical supplies or fucking food or like special tools or whatever on Mars or something like that. There goes my camera again. There we go.
Yeah, it's still like finicky enough that my mom wouldn't be able to print anything. Sadly.
Some people say that 3D printing is it's in its infancy. I think it's in its tadpole. Like I really think
still in the egg in a way.
Yeah, I still think it's in the egg. Like I think it hasn't even hit its real potential yet.
Yeah.
I think anyways.
I think you're right. I think in the future, it's like, we really enjoy clicking buy on Amazon, thing shows up tomorrow. Like that's pretty awesome. But, clicking buy, thing shows up in your little box an hour from now, or 15 minutes from now. People are going to be so stoked for that.
Yeah.
Like when people are like crazy, like all those, like people that design cars, like, these just like ridiculously, it's an engine and there's explosions inside of it. Like the amount of engineering that goes into that. When those kind of people start making shit for your 3D printer, like watch out. Like you're going to get some really useful stuff at the click of a button, I think.
Yeah. God damn, my camera. I got to buy a new one.
Yeah.
But no, totally. Well, people are already kind of doing it. You know what I mean? Like right now it's very train kits, like very like simple things.
Yeah.
But you do see people out there that make like here's one thing. So Siri, the little or like Google whatever, Google Home or whatever. Yeah. Somebody made like a compartment case that holds the battery power and the cable and the thing like that, and it just plugs in right to the wall. And it's like this nice thing that just plugs into a plug, and you don't have to have a cable laying around or have it like on a desk or anything like that. It could just be plugged straight to the wall.
Yeah.
And it's cool because I probably Google or whatever whoever makes these like these smart home things, maybe they never thought about that, or maybe like they're like, it's not worth it to make this thing, to invest money into this thing or whatever. And there's people out there that are just fucking making it, and they're like, hey, this is a cool idea. I want to design this, and it just it's just more design. It's more stuff designed in the world. There's more kind of like problems that appear, and people are finding ways to fix it using 3D printers. You know what I mean?
I think it's going to be a real problem for companies because it was brought to my attention, like, Sam was like checking out Etsy and stuff. People are selling on there, and like a hot item is a controller holder that's like Gears of War themed, or a controller like on a wall mounted thing that's like Animal Crossing themed. And like, if something can be, if a product or like any item can be made in one cohesive material, then like you're going to have competition from 3D printers going forward now. Like I started looking at, like, when I saw that, I was like, I'm going to go to Xbox and see what their 3D printing holders look like. And they're almost like, they were very similar in design, but they would have like plastic with a little bit of like kind of a different like metal on the side, or like a little accent or whatever, like something you couldn't do with a 3D printer. And I'm like, man, I wonder if they're thinking about what can we do to set this apart from a 3D printed object?
Oh, most definitely.
Because like there's nothing to stop you from just doing that. And they do look, they look cool. They're designed, and people are ripping off the logos and putting them on there and stuff. There's no stopping them. There's just so many out there. Like I think the volume is going to be hard to cease and desist from companies. So,
well, that's true, but it's just I don't know. Well, it depends though on the company, because like if the company like produces certain things and it's like a collector's thing, you know what I mean? You'll always have fanboys that are like, I got the collector's thing, you know what I mean? and it's from this company that's officially released. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Nintendo, they have limited edition things and like special edition things, and people, the reason why they love it. It's not just because it's Nintendo, because it's it's their limited edition thing from Nintendo. And somebody could be like, I made these cool Metroid Prime figures that are 3D printed, but it's like yeah, you got that character, but it's not this limited edition thing that could just be printed, as much as you want. It's not this one of a kind thing that's like has like a seal of approval. You know what I mean? And it gives it more inherent value. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Yep.
So, and this was a good talk today. Talked about a lot of shenanigans, problems. Things that went well, things that we should do, things we shouldn't do. Yeah, it's good chat.
Yeah, it's about that time, isn't it?
Yes, it's been an hour.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, where can we find ourselves is the question we usually ask at this moment.
Well, first I'm going to thank everybody that watched this. So thanks for watching another episode of Playing the Artist. If you want to help out the show, you can subscribe, hit a like or leave a comment. It really helps. The show is on every Tuesday at 8 o'clock Pacific time. Alex, now where can we find you, Alex?
We could pretty much thank everybody individually who listens to this show. It's like
your mom,
my mom, Sam, me again later when I upload this. And then, so you can find me at, I'm trying to do everywhere at Tiger Skull RPG. So that's Patreon, that's Instagram, that's Facebook, and Twitter as well. I had to just remake a whole new Twitter because I wanted it to be Tiger Skull RPG, all one word, and so that's it. That's where I'm at, and more, but go ahead.
You can find me on the Instagrams, Twitter, Thingiverse, My Mini Factory at Forbidden Prints. If you have a 3D printer, print my models. They're free. Well, some of them anyways. Alex, that's about it. Hopefully we can hang out this weekend and watch Time Bandits.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that would be cool.
You need carbs. Sweet carbs.
Yeah, I need pretzels and M&Ms in my life.
I haven't had a pretzel in a long time. You talk about pretzels.
Oh, yeah, it has been a while, hasn't it?
Anyways, I got models to fucking fix. So I'll see you in the next one, my dude.
Yes, sir. Thanks, Fabrice.
Ciao. Thanks, Fabrice. Bye-bye.